All right, today we're diving into something really special, the culture of the Arreqqana. Now, this isn't a culture that just has some interesting ideas. No, it's a world where philosophy is literally woven into the fabric of daily life. So let's pull on that first thread and see where it takes us. And this one quote, it's everything. To weave thought is to grow flame. Just let that sink in. This is the master key to understanding their entire worldview. For them, thinking isn't just some passive thing that happens in your head. Not at all. It's an action, a creative, deliberate act that generates energy and light, kind of like a weaver meticulously adding thread after thread to build a masterpiece. And that grand design has a name, the Quatasanin Lakia, or the living weave of resonance. And here's where it gets really wild. For them, there is absolutely no separation between the sacred and the everyday. Imagine if your legal code was also a work of poetry, or if your scriptures weren't just ancient texts, but a living, breathing song. Everything is designed to work together, to resonate. So, okay, if the entire culture is one massive, living tapestry, where does a single person fit into all that? What's your role? Well, it's actually pretty beautiful. You are a single thread. And your whole life is seen as this dedicated, structured practice of making that personal thread of yours stronger, more vibrant, and more beautiful. And they have this incredible system for it, called the learning cadence. Now, forget everything you know about cramming for a test. This is the exact opposite. It's a lifelong rhythm. It starts small, with these little daily sparks of learning. Then you weave those sparks together, week by week, for deeper understanding. Then you integrate those new threads monthly, all building up to this profound yearly ritual they call soul weaving. Let's drill down to the most basic level, the daily weave. This is what I love because it takes this huge idea and makes it totally concrete and achievable. This isn't some lofty, unattainable goal. It's about small, consistent actions. We're talking learning just 3 new words by chanting them, reciting a single mantra, reflecting on just one quote, or even just truly listening to a piece of music. It's all about keeping the thread of your mind in constant, gentle motion. Okay, so we've got the individual thread down, but a tapestry isn't just one thread, right? So how do they all connect? Let's zoom out a bit and look at how these threads are woven together, because in their world, relationships are literally what create the beautiful, complex patterns of society. At the very heart of their family structure is something called the matriarchal flame. The whole family unit revolves around a matriarch, the sacred flame root. Now get this, she's supported by co-husbands. And they're not rivals, they are bound in a pact of mutual service to the family. This creates this incredibly strong, stable core that then radiates outwards through all their extended family, or lineal cousins. And, their understanding of love is just as intricate. They recognize 6 distinct types of love, called the flame tiers. It starts with that foundational, sacred love for the matriarch, then expands out to soul-bound partners, then to the clan, the whole community, and even a form of respectful, diplomatic love for outsiders. Each tier has its own purpose and its own sacred expression. It's really something else. Now, inside this very structured system, there's this really fascinating concept called the Zoramine. You could translate it loosely as a love buddy, and it's a sacred companion for affection and intimacy, but, and this is the key part, it exists completely outside the formal structures of marriage vows, lineage, or property. And here's the distinction, plain and simple. A vow partner? That's about permanence, about merging families and creating lineage. That's the flame of bond. A Zoramian, though, is totally different. It's about freedom and what they call sacred play. It's a connection that is intentionally kept separate from all that heavy stuff, and it's cherished for what it is, right here in the moment. So this whole idea of connection that's both deep but also fluid and non-entangled, well, it brings us to maybe one of the most unique aspects of Arreqqana culture, a system designed to address a fundamental human need through nothing more than voice, poetry, and sacred ritual. Which, of course, raises a pretty big question, doesn't it? In a culture so focused on weaving everyone together, what happens when you feel alone? What happens when a thread feels frayed or isolated from the rest of the pattern? How do they handle loneliness? Their answer is the Velasajinwa, or Whisper Maidens. These are highly trained women, almost like priestesses, who offer emotional and spiritual comfort through a voice-only service. And they aren't seen as immoral at all. Quite the opposite. They're considered keepers of the emotional hearth, tending to those who feel spiritually cold or alone.
And make no mistake, this is not some informal back alley thing. It's a highly structured and ritualized service. The tiers range from simple, gentle listening and affirmation all the way to spicy flame speak, which is a kind of mystical, flirtatious wordplay, and even deep spiritual intimacy through storytelling. I mean, it is an unbelievably sophisticated approach to emotional care. And this snippet of dialogue, wow, it really says it all, doesn't it? The caller says, "My voice is dry, my spirit is hungry." And the Whisper Maiden replies, "Then drink me, one syllable at a time." It's just so poetic, so sensual, and deeply metaphorical. The key takeaway is that this is about feeding the spirit through the art of language. It's emotional nourishment, delivered through the beauty of the spoken word.
Okay, let's pull the camera all the way back now. We've seen the individual thread. We've seen how threads connect in families and relationships, but what's the big picture? What's the grand design that holds all of this together? What does the entire tapestry actually look like? This is it, the 5-thread canon. This is the intellectual and spiritual backbone for their entire society. You've got 5 core domains: flam for ethics, river for emotions, wind for communication, stone for governance, and ether for mysticism and science. Now, we might see these as separate fields, philosophy, psychology, linguistics, and so on, but for the Arreqqana, they are absolutely inseparable parts of a single holistic system. And these 5 principles, this is the very soul of the canon. Resonance over rule. Harmony is more important than rigid hierarchy. Memory as morality. Get this, the only true sin is to forget that you are connected to everything else. And this one is my personal favorite. Balance as beauty. The idea that making something beautiful and doing something right are the exact same act. And we'll end on this powerful quote, which just perfectly captures the essence of this culture. Their entire worldview isn't about following a set of strict top-down rules. It's about seeing life, law, love, and learning as an ongoing invitation, an opportunity to add your own unique thread, your own verse to a living, breathing, cosmic song. And that really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? How would our own world change if we saw our laws not as commands, but as opportunities to harmonize?